Let's Talk About It Media 21, where we're going to talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on with Diddy. We're just going to do a general update just in case you missed some of the other things that was going on over the last few days. We'll try and update you on what you might have missed, if anything. I've been doing pretty good just updating you guys on what the news is talking about. So come on in, like the video as you guys come in. Subscribe to the page as you come in. Welcome to Let's Talk About It 21. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel always. Yes, midday. Very busy day. Like the video as you guys come in. Let me go ahead and do my disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commas, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing or are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Come on in. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to get straight into what's going on, what's being talked about, what's trending, and what people are talking about. So I appreciate everyone for being here, subscribing, and for tuning in. Like, and come on in. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for being here. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. Trying to get into everything. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Social media. The singer returned to Instagram August 7th, nearly 3 months after giving birth to her and husband. Cassie is back on social media. The singer returned to Instagram August 7th, nearly 3 months after giving birth to her and husband Alex Fine's third baby, as well as testifying in Sean Diddy Combs' federal. On her Instagram stories, she reshares a video of a man dancing intermittently between solemn pauses from the Moms with Plans page, which included the caption, "When your old self slowly starts coming out postpartum." Cassie added her take in the comments, writing, "Factual, little by little, LOL." The 38-year-old welcomed his son May 27th, 9 days after she took the stand at a New York City courtroom to recount her decade-long on-and-off relationship with Combs. During the trial, Ventura accused Combs of forcing her to participate in drug-fueled sex parties known as freak-offs with hired escorts, alleging that the rapper threatened to release footage from past sexual encounters should she refuse. She testified in court May 13th for NBC News. "Sean controlled a lot of my life, whether it was career, sex, everything." On July 2nd, Combs was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering charges. The Bad Boy Records mogul, who has been in jail since his September 2024 arrest, will be sentenced later this year in October. Following the verdict, Ventura's attorney told E! News in a statement, "Although the jury did not find Combs guilty of sex trafficking Cassie beyond a reasonable doubt, she paved the way for a jury to find him guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice."
Like the video as you guys come in.
During an August 5th interview with CNN, Nicole Westmoreland, an attorney for Combs, was asked whether the music mogul's defense team has had a conversation with President Trump about the possibility of a pardon. And she revealed that those wheels are in motion.
In Sean Combs' orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes. My understanding is that we have reached out.
Reached out is one thing. Having a conversation is another. Do you know if there have been active conversations about a pardon?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
Despite Westmoreland's remarks, the White House declined to weigh in on the situation when contacted by NBC News, saying in a statement on August 6th that it, quote, "will not comment on the existence or non-existence of any clemency request." A few days earlier, however, Trump himself was asked during an interview with Newsmax about the possibility that he pardoned Diddy of his convictions. The president couldn't give a definitive answer, but referenced some lapses in his personal relationship with the Bad Boy Records exec.
Sean Diddy Combs,
Right.
would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they did, still in jail or something. But he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess, it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a guy. I didn't know him well, But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine.
Like the video, like the video. Let's get to this part.
Taking the time, like I said, I know you've been
Thank you for coming to my office.
incredibly busy, and there was a moment in the beginning where you were able to speak to some of us reporters, and then very early on it was clear. I think our last interview was me walking and talking with you, and you just talking about the defense that you were building, and that was it. After that,
Yeah, we were pretty shut down during the trial by design. We had asked the judge actually for a little bit of a gag order, and the judge gave it to us, so we had to and wanted to sort of abide by that and kind of keep it out of the press. I mean, try the case in the courtroom, which we feel that we did.
so of course I want to start with July 2nd. You go up to the microphone. There's about a dozen microphones there. Everyone's smiling. You step up first. You're the lead attorney for this case. Today is a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You said you saw this coming.
Yeah, I saw it
That morning.
I did. I saw it coming. I saw it coming that morning when the jury said that they had verdicts on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not on count 1. I thought that it must be that they split on the Mann Acts on the one side and then the sex trafficking on the other side, because it would have been all the way one or the other if they would have agreed, I think, on the racketeering conspiracy. So my guess was that they convicted him of the prostitution, the Mann Act counts, and acquitted on the sex trafficking.
Take me back to just that moment, because I've heard you talk about how you didn't really sleep a lot during this trial,
True.
and that you typically don't sleep a lot to begin with. But what went into this case? It had to be, I'm sure, the most publicized in the 35 years that you've been practicing law.
Yes,
Hold on.
definitely the most publicized of my entire career.
We're going to go with this
Last
one.
interview was me walking and talking with you, and you just
Right.
talking about the defense that you were building, and that was it. After that,
Yeah, we were pretty shut down during the trial by design. We had asked the judge actually for a little bit of a gag order, and the judge gave it to us, so we had to and wanted to sort of abide by
You
that.
asked for a gag order?
Out of the press. I mean, try the case in the courtroom, which we feel that we did.
so of course I want to start with July 2nd. You go up to the microphone. There's about a dozen microphones there. Everyone's smiling. You step up first. You're the lead attorney for this case. Today is a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You said you saw this coming.
Yeah, I saw it
That morning.
I did. I saw it coming. I saw it coming that morning when the jury said that they had verdicts on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not on count 1. I thought that it must be that they split on the Mann Acts on the one side and then the sex trafficking on the other.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for saying hello. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. Continue to hit the like button, everyone, and thank you.
Because it would have been all the way one or the other if they would have agreed, I think, on the racketeering conspiracy. So my guess was that they convicted him of the prostitution, the Mann Act counts, and acquitted on the sex trafficking.
Take me back to just that moment, because I've heard you talk about how you didn't really sleep a lot during this trial,
Sure.
and that you typically don't sleep a lot to begin with. But what went into this case? It had to be, I'm sure, the most publicized in the 35 years that you've been practicing law.
True. Yes, definitely the most publicized of my entire career, by a long way. I mean, Ranieri was publicized, Martin Shkreli was publicized. I've been blessed to have a lot of cases that people care about, but nothing close to this. And the press was every little thing. I mean, I thought the press was very aware of what was going on in the courtroom. They covered it very closely. I thought they covered it actually fairly accurately. And so it was a tremendous amount of preparation, a lot of pressure trying to keep the team together, a lot of pressure because, Sean Combs, I mean, I believed in my heart that he was innocent. The prosecution's tricky, but we're still sort of fighting that. And so there's a lot of pressure to win. And that's what this was all about.
For people who were not inside the courtroom, there was cheering, praying, celebration. There was a moment where Combs had his hand up, and in real time, we're watching as a decision is made and he's not going to speak. It seemed like he wanted to say something in that moment. Is that true, or what was going on?
I think he did. I think he wanted to speak to the judge.
Good question. Many people talked about that. Continue to like the video. Like the video. Thanks for being here, everyone.
I think he's not someone who's used to people speaking on his behalf.
Fact.
And I think he became Sean Combs, and he built all the things that he built by being the front and center guy. And this was a real adjustment for him. And so I think it's not natural for him to sit back and let others speak on his behalf. But we also told him that was best and that's what was going to happen. And he agreed.
Was this the most challenging case that you've ever tried in your career?
That's a great question. It's up there. I mean, I've had missile trafficking, trials. I've had political corruption trials. When I was a prosecutor, I prosecuted serial killer hitmen. So they're all different. This was probably the most difficult in terms of getting the team together. I never had a defense team like in this case, and I was lucky to have such a great group of lawyers. But
from all over the country.
From all over the country. I mean, we had Brian Steele and Nicole Westmoreland from Atlanta. I mean, gifted, great lawyers. We had Xavier Donaldson, Alexander Shapiro, Jason Driscoll, Anna Esteval, me and Tenny. And so we really had this great group of lawyers, but we needed a leader, and I'm not really a natural leader. I'm just not. I'm a trial lawyer. It's different. It's a different skill set. And I've never really tried to be a leader or had to be a leader. I'm a soldier, and I'm proud to be a soldier. So this was a different role, and I had to kind of like step into the role. I kind of saw my team needed that, and we needed harmony. We needed, we have great lawyers who are used to all being front and center. We all needed, including myself, leave our egos at the door. We have to do what's best for Mr. Combs. And so that was challenging. And then, the government was very well prepared. They have 6 outstanding prosecutors. It's a marquee case for what many say is the best prosecutor's office maybe in the world, the Southern District of New York. And this is probably their biggest case of the, not so new century. And so it was high stakes. It's Game 7 in Yankee Stadium. And so it's pressure.
The stakes are still high. Presently, just this week, the judge, Arun Subramanian, said no to bail. Second time that he's done this.
True.
How many times have you sought bail for Sean Combs?
So I've counted because.
Good question. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. Continue to hit the like button as you come in and as you comment. Thank you. To hit the like is free. Thank you.
I've never been 0 for 5 in a case in my career, and I've tried to get bail for Mr. Combs 5 times.
5 times.
0 for 5. So I made the Yankee Stadium reference. If I was up at bat, 0 for 5, outings not so great.
Does that hurt you later with sentencing, just because you have made these arguments over and over again, obviously with different judges, but with this judge twice, and more recently, the judge cited evidence of violence and coercion and said that concerns about Combs' safety. The judge said that he acknowledged the staff had been able to keep him safe even during an incident of threatened violence from an inmate. So in your opinion, you speak to Sean Combs often. What is going on at the Metropolitan Detention Center that you're saying you believe he's in danger?
So he's a very public personality, and it was a very public trial. I think that there is always the risk that some people are going to be envious or jealous, maybe jealous that he might be going home before they do. And so, I think it's been more challenging for the outstanding staff at the MDC to kind of step up, do the things that they need to do to keep, Mr. Combs safe. And they've been doing that, and they've been outstanding with us. And I know that they get their, more than their share of grief from time to time, but they've been very, very good with us and very, very good with Mr. Combs. And I really appreciate the way they've handled things. But it's
Have you brought that issue up before, though, or is this something that had been building because of recent incidents? You talked about in your document, you said that there was an inmate that was stabbed just above Combs. So help us understand sort of from September of 2024 to now how things have changed and why that's something that you brought up.
I think that's largely, the other stabbing, I think, is largely anecdotal. I don't know if that has anything to do with our case or Mr. Combs. I think it does not have anything to do with it.
Okay.
But what I've seen, and what he tells me is that it's a little different ever since the verdict, and maybe it's because.
So I'm told that they have done a little better this year than last year. Like the video, as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in.
Good or bad?
Like the video as you guys come in. Hold on,
Okay, here's what you.
let the commercial go past. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, allegedly they did do a little bit better this year than other years in regards to staff and security.
And so, I think that there are a lot of people who really support him among the inmate population. A lot of inmates take faith and heart in the fact that someone has won. All they really tend to see is they lose. You go to trial and you lose, and that's what they see. And so the fact that Mr. Combs won his trial largely, not completely, of course, I think is seen as giving everybody a little bit of hope. That being said, I think that there's lots of different ways people can feel.
What about this consistent thread that Judge Subramanian continues to say? The judge has said the first time when he denied bail that there was an issue of violence and coercion, and he used those same words this week. Your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, he was convicted of, he was acquitted of coercion. That was the sex trafficking count, and a jury of 12 New Yorkers acquitted him of that. Now, I don't think that is going to play a role at the sentencing because he's being sentenced on straight prostitution. But in terms of
the violence, though, which you acknowledged in court when you opening statements, not from you, but Tenny, this is not about racketeering conspiracy. Was there domestic violence? Absolutely. No, we own that.
We owned it. We owned it then. We own it now. And I said it in the closing, and I say it now. It's large. It's in the past for the most part. There's one event that happened in the summer of 2024 where the woman called Jane admits that she provoked, something that ended up being violent on both sides. His relationships were toxic. He's not proud of that. There was mutual violence, but that doesn't excuse a man being violent toward a woman ever. And we never said that it did. And so at the end of the day, he started seeking help, counseling. He was in a program before he was arrested in this case. He was productive.
He was in a program before he got arrested, but didn't he have what in his hotel when he got arrested? Questionable. Let's continue. Fair use. Reaction clip.
He was going, I'm in touch with the people in the program. And I think that when he gets out, he's going to start that again. The programming at the MDC is not great. It's really almost non-existent. So we've put together, therapists and people who go in and speak to Mr. Combs. And
how often?
every 2 weeks. I mean, it's pretty regular, and we did it during the trial, but before the trial as well. And so and I think it's helpful. I mean, I think it's what he needs. I mean, I was in the DA's office when I was 25 years old, and I probably had 200 cases. I bet 30 of them were domestic violence, mostly committed by men. And so this is a well-worn path, in the criminal justice system of men being violent with their domestic partners. And I think the best way to deal with it is therapy, counseling. A lot of times their partners don't want them to go to jail. They want them to get help. They want them to get better. They want them to be the men that they fell in love with. And actually what I want from Mr. Combs.
When's the last time you spoke to him?
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Today.
What did he say?
We were just talking about, sentencing and, and some of the questions you're asking about, what does the judge's ruling on bail, how does that relate to sentencing? And I explained to him it really is two completely different things, and it's two different sort of bodies of laws and rules. So, the bases by which a judge can keep someone in jail are very different than the bases on which the judge sentences the person.
Do you speak to him every day?
Every day, several times a day.
Does he know you're doing this interview?
I think he does, but not for me.
Okay.
I think he was told.
Every day, several times a day, even though he knows that the sentencing is coming. You think that Diddy stretches his lawyers out? We don't know. Let me know in the comments. Let's continue. Fair use, reaction clip.
Anything that he can say that he wanted to get through, because you are now speaking more publicly about the case and just sort of what's next. But maybe a better question, what is it that Sean Combs wants people to know? Because he's limited to what he can say.
Yeah. So he wants people to know that I think that he has reflected on the blessings that he's been given, on the imperfections that I think he sees in himself, just like we all have. I think he wants to be a better, more present father than he's ever been. I think he wants to start small. I think he wants to get out of jail, reestablish, a loving, present relationship with all of his 7 children. He wants to take care of his mother. His mother she's going to get mad at me. She's getting older, but she's beautiful and fashionable as always. But he wants to get back in his life. I think the larger goals are down the road. Does he want to get back into music? Does he want to get back into business? I think he's someone who is always going to strive to do something, exceptional and probably demanding and challenging. But I think the most demanding and challenging thing in front of him right now is to get back with his kids and get back with his mother and the people who love him and miss him.
So he's talked to you about getting back into music if he's
No. Honestly, he has not.
Okay.
One thing he said when he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
Listen to that.
He said to me he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
Doing what?
I guess being on stage. And I said I'll be there. I'm going to be right in the front. So we'll see. We'll make it happen.
So you talk to him every day. How long do these conversations typically last?
Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 15 minutes.
Wow.
Usually several times a day. Either on this something called the VTC. It's like a Zoom setup. I go see him. I'm going to see him tomorrow morning. So I spent
2 hours. Do you know how much lawyers are paid? They're expensive. If they're on the phone for 2 hours, that's a lot of money. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. I'm not going to say nothing.
Physically with him in the jail, but also on these videos.
Mark, I know there's been so much celebration about what he was acquitted of, but he's still facing 2 felony convictions. Each count carries up to 10 years behind bars. Are you preparing him for the worst, or are you optimistic that he's not going to get a lot of time, if any time, or he'll get a pardon?
Right. The pardon, that's not my end of the business. I know really nothing about that.
But you're the lead attorney, and Nicole Westmoreland said that there have been conversations.
She did. I know mostly what I know from what the president has said.
Because he is basically saying, may not be contacting the president, but she's saying, yes, they have contacted the president. So everybody's been talking about the lawyers. Are they communicating with each other properly?
How are you the lead attorney?
Good afternoon.
And she's saying that the team has had conversations with the White House, with the administration.
I can just tell you what, I have had conversations with nobody.
You haven't spoken to the president?
I have not. No.
See?
I have not spoken to the president. I have not spoken to anybody who speaks to the president about Sean Combs. I have not.
So she said, and I just want to quote, Nicole Westmoreland, who's a part of the team, said that it's her understanding that we have reached out and had conversations, that they have spoken to people who would be responsible for the pardon process. And at a time where I think there's a lot of attention, not just on the president and his actions, but on what will happen here with Sean Combs. You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon.
Wow.
I have my hands full with, with sentencing and bail. I mean, really, I'm not involved at all. So,
Okay.
Like I said, I know it's in.
You would be honest with me, right?
Of course I would. I'm on TV.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's out there. I know it's out there. I know that every once in a while the president will say something.
So how is his lead attorney not dealing with a possible pardon? Questionable. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. The lead attorney for him is not a part of him trying to get a pardon, but they talk some days 2 hours at a time, sometimes 15 minutes. He's not trying to talk with Trump to get a pardon, but his other teammates are saying that they are trying to work with it. So why is he saying, yes, I have other teammates working on that. I'm not working on that. I'm working on the sentencing. So some of the lawyers are not making sense right now. Sorry, but it's true. Everybody's talking about it.
About it. I don't know how seriously the president's taking it. I don't know kind of where his mind is with it, but I know that I want to work really hard to get him a good sentence.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of a pardon? Is he asking you, the team, see what you can do by
See?
any means necessary? Like, what is his take on what he's willing to do or go through to be free?
I think he knows I'm not political, so he doesn't talk to me about it at all. I mean, we've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it. But
What's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does
go
he
tell
say?
him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. And I say, all right, so let's talk about your sentencing.
So you steer him back to what you're facing right now?
Yes, very much so. I'm a one-trick pony. I'm a courtroom guy. That's what I do. That's my forum. That's all I know. I'm a registered independent. I'm not political, and so I don't do anything about that.
So going back to the serious nature still of felony convictions, how are you preparing him? Are you telling him, listen, it could be on the higher side, it could be consecutively versus concurrently?
Want restaurant quality meals that actually support your
Like the
wellness
video,
goals?
like the video, fair use, reaction clip. Continue to hit you guys. Are you guys surprised that the lead attorney for Diddy is saying he's not trying to talk to Trump to get a pardon?
That's rare, but possible. The judge could go below the guidelines. That's less rare in the Southern District of New York, and possible. And the emphasis now is the same as the emphasis on the trial, is just to put the best effort forward to show Judge Subramanian all the reasons why leniency is appropriate, why the violence is in his past, why he's dealing with the violence. And at the end of the day, he wasn't convicted for anything having to do with violence. I mean, the jury affirmatively acquitted him of all of that. So we have to make all the.
Well, you care because you're here and you're typing. Be kind in the comments. I don't have time for foolishness today. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
The right way, the legal way, to the court.
Because this bill was denied, and that's what sort of we're dealing with now, it's less than 60 days before October 3rd is still the day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think will happen on sentencing day?
I can't possibly, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think Judge Subramanian's been fair throughout. He'll be fair here. Our fate is in our own hands, I feel. I feel like if we do a good job explaining the situation to our judge, I think we'll get a fair and reasonable sentence. I hope Mr. Combs goes home soon. I think he's paid a tremendous debt for what he's done. He's done things wrong. He was convicted of crimes, and he's done other things wrong. And we were forthcoming, as part of our trial presentation as to all of that. And I think in some ways he's a better person because of it.
What does he tell his children?
I actually don't know. I mean, I know he talks to them a lot. They're very present in his life.
I was going to say, day one, you saw 6 of his 7 children in the courtroom. You said that in your conversations with him, he talks about, wanting to establish that relationship, wanting to get back home. How difficult, I guess, has that been for him, trying to father behind bars, from behind bars?
It's very difficult because 4 of the kids, with him in jail, 4 of the kids have no parents at all. I mean, their mother passed away, and Mr. Combs is in jail. Correct. And I think he feels very, very bad about that. And I think he feels like he really wants to get back so that those kids have a parent, present to be their father, because they don't have a mother at this point, which is, tragic in general, but doubly tragic because, Mr. Combs is in jail.
A number of friends and family, I understand, have submitted letters. Was that for the bail hearing? Was that for the sentencing?
So it's for the sentencing.
And what are we to make of someone who accused Combs of domestic violence 5 years ago in a podcast, who then wrote a letter saying he's a good person? And today, I believe, doubled down on an Instagram post saying, why can't people accept that you can forgive people and move on? For those who will look at a letter from someone who was supposed to be victim number 3 in this case and go, she must have been paid, or the attorney clearly wrote that letter. What do you say to that?
She wasn't paid and the attorney didn't write it. I mean, I know she has a lawyer. I don't know between her and her lawyer how that letter was made, but I have every reason to believe that those are her genuine sentiments. And if her lawyer helped her write it, that sometimes happens. I think she's exactly right. And I think she would know. And I don't think she's here to just do him favors. I think this is how she genuinely
Like the video. Thanks for being here.
Feels. And I thought that her letter was very balanced. I think she said, was their relationship perfect? It wasn't perfect. I mean, she led with that. And she said, but he always tried to do better. She saw him as a father and a loving figure. And I think this is all about redemption. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and I believe in redemption. And I think this is a story of redemption. And I think that's what he wants. He's religious as well. He was raised Catholic and Baptist. He went to Catholic high school. He went to Catholic church every Sunday. He went to Baptist church as well because of his grandmother. And I think he is telling a story of redemption. I think the Sean Combs story is a story of redemption and how important redemption is. And redemption as a function of character, both for the person who's asking for the redemption and for the people who we are asking to redeem that person. And I don't think it's a great gesture of character to carry anger. I think that's what Gina's follow-up is saying. I think it's a great gesture of character if someone really deserves to let them achieve that. And that's really the Combs story right now, is one of redemption.
I want to go back to that last day in court for you, giving your closing argument, 4.5 hours. I heard in another interview that you had something ready and then you weren't comfortable with it. And you went on a walk and you just came with what you said is tell me a story,
Right.
you know, wanting to connect with the jury, which you believe, you know, you had the shared experience with. Some criticize, you know, what you had to say and how you said it. I remember doing an Instagram post myself where you about, oh, the Astroglide is off the streets. You know, you said it in a way that was kind of mocking the fact that a lot went into raiding someone's home and this is what they found. When you look back at that, explain to us, to the viewers, why you felt it was so important to not necessarily have everything written down, not stay behind the podium, but to use your hands to move back and forth. Again, there were no cameras in the courtroom, so we are the eyes and ears for the public. But what went into that? How you were feeling? I mean, to be up there for 4.5 hours.
I prepared an outline, and the night before I read it over, and it was.
Like the video, continue to hit the subscribe button and continue to hit the like button, you guys. The likes should match the views. As you guys come in, as you're commenting, please make sure you're hitting the like button. It's the thumbs up above the video or below the video. Thank you.
It was factually fun.
Don't forget to subscribe. There's about 320 in the building. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
But it was stale. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't a great story. And I just wanted to tell the jury the story. And so I knew what I.
Hold on.
Wanted to say.
Right.
And I knew that the jury had paid very close attention. So they didn't need me to put emails up on the screen for them to see for the 23rd time. The text messages or whatever, the written communications, where they knew that stuff. And they paid very close attention to the testimony. They all took notes. All 17 jurors took notes throughout the entire trial. So they knew this stuff. But they didn't hear, and I didn't think the government really gave them a story. They didn't hear the story of this case, And so I just wanted to tell them a story. And I wanted to put my notes down. I only have 3 pages of handwritten notes anyway. And talk to them and look them in the face and, kind of look at them individually and sort of say, this is the story of this case. This is what the evidence shows.
There's a moment I think lawyers know when they have the audience, the jury. When was that for you?
So it's funny. It's a good question. I wasn't sure if I was going to be sarcastic or not. I wanted to sort of see how it would go. So when I was cross-examining one of the agents, I asked him, I said, so how many cases, how many search warrants have you recovered Astroglide? And he says, 1. I go, this one. And he was did terrorism cases and all these serious cases. And so I realized, and the jury kind of laughed at that. And so I realized that's going to be my jumping off point because I already have that kind of in the record. So early in my summation, I did the whole thing with, thank goodness they got the Astroglide, they got it off the street. And the jury reacted, well. They laughed.
Well, first off, they should have been focusing on what they raided the house for. What other videos did they retrieve? Did they remove a lot of stuff so a lot of these famous people won't be outed? What did they remove from the house? No, they should have been worried about. And that was them pushing that narrative about the baby oil and the Astroglide. And they focused too much on Cassie. He had what in his house? It got raided. It wasn't raided for baby oil and Astroglide. Are you kidding me? They're not going to do a raid for that. But they wanted us to focus on that. Real talk. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. There's about 250 in the building. Can I please get 250 to please hit the subscribe button? And thank you. That's ridiculous. Do y'all think that the feds did a good job with the case? Focus on foolishness and not the seriousness.
Kind of got it. And there's aspects of this trial. I mean, sarcasm could be a very effective tool, and as a storyteller, you want to use your full complement of tools. And it's sincerity and it's sometimes sarcasm. But at a certain point, it's not so much that I realized that I had the jury. I realized I was with the jury, and that's kind of really where I want to be, and I want to sort of be, whatever their space is, I want to be in there with them. And I realized that I was doing that. I was in that space with them. They were paying very close attention. They were kind of with me on, the different arguments. I kind of knew when they were ready for me to move on, and that's one of the things, this is really a trial lawyer thing more than something unique to Combs. Trial lawyers need to get rid of their notes. I mean, you're talking to a jury, so be with the jury. Be with the jury. Where are they done on this topic? Then move on. If you had another 3 pages, forget it. It's time to move on. And they throw off an energy. There's some jury of people all compressed in a jury box that they actually throw off a lot of information. And if you're attuned to it, you're not staring at your notes, and you're looking at them, and you're feeling them, you'll know exactly what to do next. And that's what the summation was.
So when you think about the very beginning and your first meeting with Sean Combs, what was it about this case that you said, I really want to represent you? Obviously, you had a lot of experience with racketeering conspiracy, but you didn't have to take this case.
No, I thought he was being targeted. I genuinely did. I thought that he's an outspoken guy. He ruffles feathers, and I thought they were looking to get him.
What did they retrieve from his house? Y'all noted in the comments. Didn't he have substances in the house? And weren't things scratched off? What was retrieved from the house? How are they targeting him, sir? You can't have that kind of stuff in your house. What was in the hotel when he got arrested? Hello? Let's continue. Fair use. Yeah. His house was raided. And that's the biggest thing. They're probably still being quiet and not exposing some of the wrongdoing, possibly, of some of these famous people. You focus on the video from the hotel, but there's other videos at his house. Were there other famous people that were having questionable meetings about stuff? What happened at the after parties at his house? He talks about them. We didn't. Hello. So are they still protecting some of these famous people? They wanted us to focus on baby oil and Astroglide. His house was raided, and it wasn't raided for no baby oil or Astroglide. Watch the play, y'all. Watch the play. The Fed should have did better and more so focusing on what was in that house, what else, other tapes was in that house, what else transpired, and what was occurring outside of Cassie. He's dated other people outside of Cassie. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Unfairly. I really believe that. The government, the government. And I thought he didn't do these things. I mean, I knew, because he was honest with me throughout. I mean, I knew there was issues in the past, with domestic violence.
Just like they don't want to release the list and there's distractions here too. Real talk. Real talk. You can find baby oil at Costco in a bulk. Costco said, no, sir, you cannot. You cannot find baby oil in bulk. So if anybody else's house would have got raided, do you think they would have been treated different? Y'all know that in the comments. Come on, what was at his house when it got raided? And what was at the hotel when it got raided?
His girlfriends. But that's not what they were looking to charge him with.
He was honest with you throughout. So did you know before the video was released of Cassie Ventura being slapped and kicked and punched that happened?
Well, I knew from her lawsuit, certainly, because she filed the lawsuit.
But you also know.
Was there other videos concerning Cassie? Him and Cassie dated how long? So you're telling me there was no concerning videos over the last 8 years, 10 years that him and Cassie dated? Y'all didn't find no other concerning videos from his house about him and Cassie arguing, tripping out, whatever. Y'all found no, come on. They found no other videos of him having concern with women at his house. Stop playing. The house was raided for a reason, and it wasn't for baby oil or
That his reaction in the beginning was, this is outrageous.
That, before I got involved in the case, I think that I've seen that, yes.
But when you were involved, that video didn't come out yet.
The video didn't come out.
But when it did,
right,
how did that change your relationship or any questions you had about someone you said had been forthcoming and someone that you trusted? Because
I had known that there was violence between him and Cassie.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I don't know why.
But you didn't know about the video to it coming out?
I didn't know that there was a video. I didn't know there was a video.
And when you saw that video, how did you feel?
Exactly.
It was a rough day. I remember thinking, this is just a terrible piece of evidence. It takes all the guesswork out of this aspect of the case. And I remember thinking, they're going to indict him. They're not going to start this investigation. Then this video falls into their lap, and they're not going to indict him. He's definitely going to get indicted.
Because that played so big in this case, as you know, early on, even the idea of paying someone to make sure that this doesn't see the light of day, is that something that was revealed to you in any way, shape, or form? Maybe not seeing the video, obviously, or knowing the details of it outside of, okay, this is someone I'm representing who has admitted that there was some violence between him and his ex-girlfriend. But just that idea of paying someone $100,000.
Oh, but they did talk about the evidence they did find. They found substances in his home, and they found things that were scratched off. They found things in his home, but I'm sure there's more. So other people can have substances in their home and they're not charged. They're charged. You got stuff that's got serial numbers crossed off. Come on. Things were found, but they didn't address it enough.
For video to bury it so no one sees it. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that there was a video that
you just hadn't seen it.
I hadn't seen it.
Okay.
I didn't think it existed. I mean, I thought that, it was sort of taken care of. And that was a mutual thing between, Sean and Cassie. I mean, Cassie had a premiere coming out. Nobody wanted this video leaked, I don't think anyone was concerned about it being a police matter. I think everybody was concerned about it being released on, TMZ or somewhere else.
Everyone deserves a happy home, and an imperfect credit score.
Like the video as you guys come in. And that's the other thing. It was Cassie's turn to celebrate her premiere, but instead he's grabbing her and doing what he did outside of that elevator. It was Cassie's turn to celebrate something, and he has her in the FO. Why isn't anybody talking about that? Why not let her relax? Why not get her a massage? But no, instead, she is expected to do an FO. And look what happened when she tries to allegedly leave, whether she's trying to go get rest or trying to just leave the situation. What happened when she got in that elevator? Near that elevator. Like the video, like the video. And Cassie's not the only one he dated.
Because what you do as a defense lawyer is you have your sort of checklist of what are the things I want to establish as matters of fact at this trial.
Right.
And if you can do it all through the government's witnesses, you don't have to call your own witnesses. And that's really the issue. So all of the things we wanted to establish, we really pretty much did through the government witnesses.
So that's why you felt there was no need to call
There's no
any
need to call any defense witnesses.
Did Combs want to testify at any point in this trial?
Yes, he wanted to testify. He wanted to testify, and and I told him the same metric. What are you going to say that the jury hasn't heard?
And what did he say to that?
He's like, well, do you think that they're waiting for me to testify? I said, I think they would love Sean Combs to get on the stand and testify.
But what did he say he would have said had he gotten a chance to do that?
I mean, I think it would have been a lot of the things that are in the cross. Cassie and I loved each other. She said that. Cassie and I were sometimes toxic, but we were really in love. She said that. All the different things that he would have said that were by way of sort of explanations or giving context, we got out from the government witnesses. And so what I told him is, you don't really have any road to cover that we haven't covered through the crosses. I mean, I was a great businessman. I was a successful businessman. We got that through the personal assistance. We got that through, you're the former CFO. You don't need to get up and say that. And I think he saw that we were right, that we really had brought all these things out in the government's case and that he didn't have to testify.
At what point in this 8 weeks did he feel comfortable agreeing with your suggestion that you should not take the stand?
I don't know that at one point in time. It was probably around halfway through the trial, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the trial.
So he was on board with this idea that, I don't need to testify.
So it's always, let's see how it goes.
Okay.
This is when it comes to for your client testifying, you kick the can down the lane kind of by design.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. It's never over till it's over.
Right.
And we knew the government was going to put on these summary witnesses and there were going to put all these text messages and all these communications. And let's see how that goes. Let's see how that lands. Can we handle that cross? Because if we can handle on cross, we'll just take care of it on cross and you don't have to do it. We thought we handled it all.
He was so active in his own defense. I'm watching Combs many times, taking notes, handing you all Post-its, while you're cross-examining witnesses. How helpful was that? Were there moments where he was very helpful in proving something or changing the narrative or direction that you guys were going in?
So
right.
He's a chairman and a CEO, among other things. And he would remember the things we would talk about. So he was supposed to remember to ask this. And sometimes I'm really glad he wrote the Post-it. Sometimes he'll write a Post-it, something that, might be a good idea if it weren't a trial, but not maybe a great idea in the context of a trial. So it was mixed, but he was very active. And you guys are only seeing sort of the tip of the iceberg. I mean, he was a very involved, client in terms of being part of the defense team and, the strategies and sort of the ideas that we had for the best way to present his case. I mean, I thought it was important that the outstanding young women lawyers on our team played a very prominent role. So we had, Tenny do the opening, we had Anna, do the
And
cross.
that wasn't the original order of things. You said Anna wasn't always going to do the cross.
Right. So I had prepared the whole cross of Cassie. I'm going to prepare the whole thing. And I was here in my office till 2 o'clock in the morning one night. And I just felt there's something missing. There's some aspect of the trial that I'm not kind of getting to the heart of. And I walked to my apartment. I live in Manhattan near Wall Street. It's like an hour and a half walk. I get home at 3:30 in the morning. And I realize I should not cross Cassie. And I think Anna should cross Cassie. So the next day I call Anna. I go, how do you feel about crossing Cassie? And she's like, she's testifying in 3 weeks. I'm like, you can do it. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We will get you ready. And she worked really hard and she did a great job.
We as journalists were not able to see those sex videos. They were just for the jury. Did those videos, and I want to say it was probably a little over an hour worth of material
That we showed the jury?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Did that help your case?
I thought it did. So one of the alternate jurors was interviewed and he referred to them as tame. And that's a fair way to put it. They were very, the hotel rooms were beautifully done. It wasn't aggressive. The word tame is not a bad description, and it was eminently, consensual. I mean, I didn't know what these videos were going to be like. They could have been very different in nature and problematic for us, but they weren't. They were just, adults, having very eminently, obviously consensual sex. So I thought they were good for us.
Have you spoken to Maureen Comey since she got let go?
I have not.
When you heard that news, were you surprised? I mean, I know when I watch you all before the trial starts, it seems like everybody's very friendly. You guys are smiling, you're laughing, and then of course once you go into you're the prosecution, I'm the defense.
I'm sad that what happened to her. I mean, she doesn't deserve that, and she didn't do anything wrong. I don't think it has anything to do with this case. I don't think. But
What do you think it has to do with?
I've read, related to Epstein, but I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sorry to see her go. I think she's a good prosecutor. I think she's a good lawyer. She'll land on her feet. She'll have a great career. But I think what's saddest part is, I thought for a while I might be a career prosecutor, and then I had a third kid, and my wife's like, go make some money, so sometimes it happens. I think she wanted to be a career prosecutor, and she should be given that opportunity.
Oftentimes, I wonder, as an attorney, do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
Good question. Like the videos, you guys come in. Don't forget to subscribe. There's about 186 in the building. Don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K next month. This is a good question that we're going to see how he answers. He's his lawyer. He's supposed to stick up for him. Did he do a great job? Fair use?
It's a good question. I am one to have regrets, just in general. Not really. What I told Penny early on, I said, we have a good chance if we do everything perfectly, but we have to be perfect. Every cross-examination has to be perfect. We have to take the right tone. We can't be sort of tone deaf. We can't be heavy-handed, the female witnesses. And if we can do all those things, we have a shot. And I think we were fortunate enough that we did those things. And so I feel like when you're asked about something as intricate and as important as this, do you have any regrets or do you do anything differently? And you say no, maybe you're not really answering the question on a deep level. Mm-hmm. So I'm really trying to think about the question more. But no, we put a lot of thought into this. I don't know that I would have done anything differently.
You called the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story.
What do you say a great modern day love story, what they went through, and some of the other went through, and some of the assistants, what they went through, and what Jane Doe went through, and what Cassie's friends went through? What? Let's continue. Fair use. Reaction clip.
Ventura said she was raped. ...
Like the video, like the video. As a commercial pass. Diddy's attorney called him and Cassie's relationship a great modern day love story.
Rape we vehemently deny. And
why?
I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. And there's a whole backstory as to why I think she would have made up that allegation, which we sent to the jury. So I don't think that happened. And that's a very serious matter. So I'd leave it that one. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. And there's a strong.
Yeah, that's not love. Remember how, and see, that's the one thing people don't know. It's being alleged. He's trying to say Cassie was trying to allegedly take his phone. That's why he got mad. Okay, sir. If that's the case, she had your phone. Why not hold your hand out and say, Cassie, give me my phone? Hold your hand out. I need my phone. There should have been conversation of give me my phone. But when he saw her at that elevator, she was immediately what? Immediately what? And then there was things thrown at her when she's on the phone or after she got off the phone trying to get help. Now, mind you, she's supposed to be preparing and relaxing for premiere, her moment. But instead, it was to focus on him and her doing what he needed her to do. And she never should have been at that hotel. She should have been focusing on her premiere. And for the worst alleged situation for her, that happened. And instead of getting her massage and getting her toes done and getting her hair done, they're doing FOs. They're doing FOs. How does he prepare for an event? Is he allowing people to stress him out, or is he relaxing? But instead, Cassie is having that situation. She's trying to leave. So we see what happens when she tries to leave. If it was his phone, put your hand out and say, I need my phone. That's what should have happened. But instead, what happened? What happened? And then he was dragging to pull back into the location, right? And allegedly, somebody was in that room. And it was just a mess. So is there alleged other videos from his house in regards to any concerns they might have had? We saw the video of her. Remember how she was under the blanket? Remember that? It's a lot. Women, get out of a situation if you have concerns with your man disrespecting you, mistreating you, talking down to you. Get out, get help, and call 800 numbers to get assistance.
Tragic aspect to it. I think they really did love each other. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her. And what I told you.
Toxic love. Toxic to the highest level. Would he want his daughter dating him? Would he want his mother dating him? Would he want his niece dating him? That's the question.
and they all nodded in agreement. I said, if you want some of the most beautiful writing you've ever seen, look at their text messages from when they're breaking up in 2019. I mean, they're just so heartfelt, and just you can't, the greatest fiction writer couldn't really write them with kind of the poignancy and the power, and the tragic nature. I mean, these two people who each other, loved each other, cheated on each other, and it's very apparent to both of them that they're just not going to be together much longer. And their writing is just so beautiful and sad around this. So I maintain that that's true.
Modern day love and beautiful messages. Thanks for tuning in. Like the video, y'all. Let's continue. This is interesting.
Kind of starting from the beginning, take us inside the courtroom right before the verdict is read. And I can't imagine your heart must have been racing. I don't think many of us, based off of, we're stuck on racketeering conspiracy the night before. In my mind, they needed a little bit of time, not just about an hour. So what was going on?
So the most nervous time for me was when they had verdicts on 4 counts the day before.
Okay.
That was nerve-wracking because I hadn't really processed it. Like, what does it mean? They have 4 verdicts, but they don't have a verdict on the RICO conspiracy count. And then at 3 in the morning, it kind of hit me. And I remember thinking, and I actually said to Tenny, I sent her a text, and I said, we're going to make a bail application. It's going to be a good verdict for us. We're going to go down. I think we're going to go down on the prostitution, but we're going to win the RICO and we're going to win the sex trafficking. So let's get our ducks in a row to make a bail application. We're going to need to know that where the plane is, so that the government's like he still has a plane. He doesn't have access to the plane. We need where the kids' passports, where's his passport. So I actually thought it was going to be a good verdict, and I thought it was going to be quick. So when the verdict actually came in at 10 o'clock, I was probably much less nervous than I am in a typical case because I remember thinking they acquitted of the RICO, they acquitted of the sex trafficking.
But it's not until you hear those words,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And when you did hear not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, you did what?
I waited until sex trafficking count 2. That's when I knew it was going to be okay. They say not guilty on RICO. They can still convict them of sex trafficking, which is a 15-year mandatory minimum just for 1 count. So I waited, bated breath until that, and then they said not guilty on that. And I said, I bet they're going to say guilty now on prostitution, and they did. And then I'm like, well, could they have possibly convicted him of sex trafficking, for Jane? And they said no, he's not guilty of that.
Right.
And so, no, but there's nothing like it. It's the most nerve-wracking, maybe with the exception of the birth of my 3 children. And do they have 10 fingers and toes? Are they breathing?
Did the jury get it right? Note it in the comments. How much time do you think that he'll get? Do you think he'll get time served? Press 1. Do you think that he'll get over a year? Press 2. Or do you think that he'll get over 5 years? Press 3. Or do you think he'll get over 10 years? Press 4.
It's almost at that level.
I heard when you were on the elevator, you got in there, you took a deep breath, and someone asked you, how do you feel? And you said, relieved.
I said I'm relieved that I'm not miserable. And that's the funny thing with these things. If you win, you're relieved, and if you lose, you're miserable. I carry my trial losses with me forever. I dream about them. I dream that the jury's still out, for the losses. The wins are not as good as the losses are bad. The losses are terrible, and the wins are reliefs. So I don't know why I do this for a living, but I'm going to keep doing it apparently.
Kanye West showed up during this trial.
He did.
When you heard he was in the building, what were you thinking?
Did y'all notice that they outed all the people Cassie tried to date while trying to leave him? But in regards to that famous person, they kept that name anonymous. Are y'all surprised at that? Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Why did Kanye show up? Did he think that he was about to get released and he's trying to, work with Diddy, up and coming? Let's continue. Fair use. He is working with the son, though. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Why did Kanye show up?
I had mixed feelings. On the one hand, I think he was there to support Combs, and so I want to encourage people to support Combs. He certainly has had a lot of people in his life, in the last several years who haven't supported him and, detracted from him and things like that. So I wanted him in the courtroom for that reason. But
why are celebrities silent? Why are celebrities silent?
But didn't want.
Let's
I thought
continue.
the trial was going well. I thought Tammy and I were having the perfect trial that we wanted to have, and I didn't want to take any chances. And so I thought that seemed like it could be a little risky. What would the jury think? Why is he there? And so I had mixed feelings about it. But I'm happy that he came, and I'm happy that he supported Mr. Combs.
Even with this case, not quite behind him yet, because there's a sentencing, but the weight of what it could have been, there's still a bunch of civil lawsuits Combs is facing, over 70. Life's going to be the same. I know he talks about the idea of performing in Madison Square Garden, but he's facing dozens of civil lawsuits if he gets out.
I don't think a lot of them have a lot of merit. I think if they had merit, they would have found their way into the criminal case. The prosecutors, scoured the earth for evidence that I think they thought had merit, And so even more than me thinking that it doesn't have merit, I think if it didn't find its way into the criminal case, the prosecutors didn't think it had merit. And so I think they will all go by the wayside one by one. You know, when
But it could take years.
It could take years.
And that's a lot of money he's going to be spending.
It's a lot of money. He has the tremendous misfortune of having lawyers around him all the time now. So it's
Wow.
not easy for anybody. So
It costs a lot of money.
A lot of civil lawsuits. A lot of the civil lawsuits can't even start until after his sentencing. Nothing can transpire. In regards to those civil lawsuits, people better have proof, or they don't even need to be presented. A lot of them may be thrown out. If there's no police record, hospital records, text messages approving X, Y, or Z from Diddy or his staff. So we'll see what happens in regards to the civil lawsuits. We'll talk about that. But some of the allegations, think about Little Rod's situation, the things he said, the recordings allegedly he said he had. Why didn't they call Little Rod? Why didn't they call KK? Why didn't they call D-Rock? Why didn't they call the other women Diddy dated outside of Cassie? Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Costs a lot of money. Yeah, it costs a lot of money, and it's you know it's a drag. I mean, you know, but ultimately, I think the criminal case really is kind of the the one thing that everyone can kind of have faith in. I mean, you know, it's anybody can bring a lawsuit, you know, and the government, you know, the government put a lot of work into this case, and it brought charges that it thought had merit, and the jury spoke and said what it said. You know, after really paying very close attention to all of the evidence, we had a very careful.
Do you think they did a good job covering the case?
A good trial, and so I don't think we're not too worried about the civil lawsuits.
If Sean Combs were sitting right here, what would he say?
He would say, that's a great question. He would say, I have more to give the world. I want to get out, and I want to show the world that I have more to give. You know, I've done things when I was a younger man. I did them in a way a younger man did them, and he'll talk about, you know, he built businesses. He built businesses.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Businesses maybe no one else could build. I mean, I don't know that.
Hold on. Let me go back. Like the video.
On these summary witnesses, and they're going to put all these text messages and all these communications, and let's see how that goes. You know, let's see how that lands.
Hold
can
on.
we handle that on cross? Because if we can handle on cross, we'll just take care of it on cross, and we don't have to do it. So we thought we.
I mean, I know he talks about the idea of performing in Madison Square Garden, but he's facing dozens of civil lawsuits if he gets out.
I don't think a lot of them have a lot of merit. I mean, I think if they had merit, they would have found their way into the criminal case. I mean, the prosecutors, you know, scoured the earth for evidence that I think they thought had merit. And so even more than me thinking that it doesn't have merit, I think if it didn't find its way into the criminal case, the prosecutors didn't think it had merit. And so I think they will all go by the wayside one by one. You know,
but it could take years.
It could take years.
And that's a lot of money he's going to be spending.
It's a lot of money. He has the tremendous misfortune of having lawyers around him all the time now. So that's not easy for anybody. So
it costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money. Yeah, it costs a lot of money, and it's you know it's a drag. I mean, you know, but ultimately, I think the criminal case really is kind of the the one thing that everyone can kind of have faith in. I mean, you know, it's anybody can bring a lawsuit, you know, and the government, you know, the government put a lot of work into this case, and it brought charges that it thought had merit, and the jury spoke and said what it said. You know, after really paying very close attention to all of the evidence, we had a very careful judge. It was a very good trial, and so I don't think we're not too worried about the civil lawsuits.
If Sean Combs were sitting right here, what would he say?
He would say, that's a great question. He would say, I have more to give the world. I want to get out, and I want to show the world that I have more to give. You know, I've done things when I was a younger man. I did them in a way a younger man did them. And he'll talk about, you know, he built businesses. He built businesses maybe no one else could build. I mean, I don't know that anyone could have built the record company he built and then, you know, made it, you know, a fashion label and sort of like this lifestyle. And I think he has a sense and he has a vision. You know, I was funny. I was talking to him the other day. My daughter, who's a paralegal with us, Sophia, ran into Mrs. Combs at the jail. And she comes back to me and she says she's the most glamorous, fashionable woman I've ever met. You know, and she really is. She just has this wonderful sense of fashion. I think in part because she sort of, her sense of fashion was probably derived from when, like, there was real, not that there's not now, but real glamour. Like, there was a different sense of glamour, you know, in the 50s. And so, you know, I mean, I remember some of one of my grandmother was very fashionable, you know. And I think Sean carries that tradition. And I think he brings it, you know, into an urban arena with urban sensibilities, but he has a great, strong sense of, like, fashion and, you know, and glamour. And I think he's going to do great things. And I think he's going to do great things as a mature, older man. You know, he's not a brash 25-year-old anymore. You know, he's 55, and he's been through tremendous challenges. You know, he's lost women he's loved. He's lost being with his 7 kids, and he's had time to really reflect. And he relies on his faith. He relies on being religious. And I think we're going to see a very different Sean Combs. And I think it's going to be wonderful.
Does Sean Combs have a message for Cassie and Jane?
If he
Oh,
did, I probably wouldn't be in a position to give it because the trial's not over.
good question.
So that's a very good question, but one that I can't answer.
Thank you.
Ladies, be careful dating someone like this. Be careful.
Over 80%
Because
of women who tried black girl.
his lawyer is supposed to try to assist and help, but as we know, there's concerns here. There's concerns here. Did the jury get it right? Did the jury get it wrong? Was the jury rushing to have their holiday? They should have never even said that we want this trial to end before the 4th. It should have ended when it needed to be ended. They should have said we'll go after a week or 2 after the 4th. Real talk. Some of those people that were on that stand way too longer than they should have been. The feds did not properly a lot of people feel the feds didn't get the proper people on the stand. Some of those people, and they talked about text messages for days. They talked about text. Why not put the people he produced on the stand to show the character? Because if he's still their producer, that means there's still dealings. Why didn't KK take the stand? Why didn't D take the stand? Okay, we had the FO situation, but they focused too much on the FO situation than what most men that would do or how they would do things would be in jail for 10 plus years, 15 plus. Okay, whatever you do in your private room, that's on you. But you got your girl or women sleeping with sometimes no protection. Sometimes it's for days. Even if you're physically not well, you're still expecting them to do it. And sometimes they were playing in juices. Playing in juices. You want men to do what in a girl's mouth? Something that should go down the toilet? Unacceptable. 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 Women, do not put up with a man's BS. If you're uncomfortable, save money and get out. Get some assistance. There are programs out there. Sometimes Cassie would try and leave, and then they would put it over her head. Oh, we're not going to release this, or you're not going to do this with this person. Y'all remember, if a man loved you, should she be in hotels for days having situationships? If a man loves you, should you be healing in a hotel for your bruises to be healed? You can't leave the hotel until your bruises are healed. There are women going through bad situations right now. When people say no big deal, why do you cover it? Because there are women that may be listening to us right now, and they may want to get out of a bad situation, remove themselves and their children. Sometimes you can't take everybody around your family. If you notice any red flags in your dude, do not take him around your family. So that way, if you need some peace and quiet, you can go to your family's house. He won't know where you at. You can't take everybody around your family. Real talk. After a year, take them around your family. Let's see the true colors. 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 10 months. You can't take everybody around your family. Real talk. Meet at restaurants. So that way, if you need some peace and quiet from a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs dude, you can go to your family house without. What did he ask from Cassie mom? Money. And then what did he do? Return it. Because he said he was going to leak stuff about Cassie. That's not love. That's not love. That's not love. Gina allegedly went MIA. Gina resurfaced once the jury was deliberating. It's on her that she wants to resurface. It's on her that she wants to write a letter. These women still may be trying to secure their spot for when he gets out. Some of these women don't have a man that's a millionaire around them, near them, by them. Allegedly, he was paying Jane Doe's rent, and he was paying for her lawyer. So it's a good thing that Gina allegedly didn't show up, because Gina and Cassie's situation would have been very, very similar, because Gina was a side girl. Cassie was the girlfriend. Not a good situation. Jane, we really didn't even know he was kicking it with Jane like that. We knew they was hanging, but we didn't know he was paying Jane's rent and alleged lawyer. We didn't know that. We did not know that until she got on that stand. And allegedly Jane was added to the case this year. Here nor there. We'll see what the judge says. We'll see what the judge says. If it's time served, we don't know. And I'm not even going to call it. Doesn't matter to me. I wouldn't date a guy like this. You're not going to have me sleeping with several men. Think about women. Let's think about this. Think about women that's in a relationship. Sometimes you like to be with your dude maybe once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. But sometimes he had her sleeping with people, 1 to 2 to 3 people within a weekend. Think about that. Women don't do it. If a man has a click or red flags, let him have that red flag. Some of these women want to be by his side because he's a millionaire. Some of these women still want to be there because he's a millionaire. And they want the perks. It's not worth it for your safety. What do you mean? What am I trying to say, lady? You know what I'm trying to say. Don't be with no joker that's going to put their hands on you and disrespect you and ask the mother for money, that's saying that you're going to leak a video of the child. He never should have asked for money from Cassie's mother. If he loved her, he would have never had her in those hotels. If he loved her, he would have never put it over her head that he was going to leak videos of her. What do you mean what I'm saying, lady? You know what I'm saying. Celebrities are being exposed because certain celebrities are not well. Look at the situation in regards to the files. Some are saying, allegedly, the distraction is him using Diddy as a buffer so people won't talk about the files. But people aren't laying up and they want those files. They want those files. Do you agree that these celebrities that's doing wrong to their girlfriends, wives, cheating, concerns, they should be outed? Certain celebrities are still walking around, probably still doing certain things, but they're a little careful now because they see what Diddy going through. Are they trying to make an example of Diddy? Let me know in the comments. Are they trying to make an example of him? Let me know in the comments. Why are Diddy's lawyers? Some are saying yes, they're talking to Trump administration for a pardon. Why are some of the other lawyers for Diddy saying they're not trying to get a pardon? Diddy's lawyer just said he don't do politics. He's focusing on the sentencing. He's not focusing on that. But I guess the other lawyers are trying to focus on that. Yep. Okay. Let me see. I'm not gonna do let me see if I can do some hot topics, trending topics real quick. Just to do an overview, I tried to do that and what's going on. Remember how Diddy's lawyer was saying that Diddy's focusing on getting on the stage in Madison Square Garden? Now he's saying Diddy's going to try and focus on family and other stuff. Diddy lawyer is basically trying to clear up what he said in that interview. He's basically saying Diddy's going to focus on other stuff other than trying to focus on music. Clean up on aisle 9, 10, and 11. And also, if you did not know, Gina spoke out saying, what's the problem with her supporting her ex-boyfriend? Gina called people names and saying, what's the problem with her supporting her ex-boyfriend? Okay, so it's basically saying Diddy's attorney says the Bad Boy founder is going to be back at Madison Square Garden. And then today, I guess he did something with TMZ saying Diddy's not going to be focused on that. Diddy's going to focus on health and family. Let's continue. Go check out the TMZ interview. I guess Diddy's lawyer's trying to clean it up today. Yeah. And people, like I said, people are calling out the lawyers because one lawyer saying one thing, we're seeking a pardon. His top lawyer saying, I'm focusing on sentencing. If you did not know, Cassie comes back to Instagram. I'm wondering if she posted just a picture of herself after baby number 3. And then if you don't recall, people are speaking about Cassie. Yep, people are speaking about Cassie. Some of those people they didn't want to understand because it wouldn't have made Cassie look in a good light. This is a good saying. Stay close to people who inspire you, who believe in you and support you and celebrate you. Good quote. Good quote. Good quote. So go check it out. Diddy's lawyer speaking up. The young lady, the other lawyer speaking up. If y'all did not check it out, on yesterday, we did the review of the other lawyer speaking on Pierce Morgan. And Pierce asked some good questions. If you did not hear, this was what, about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, he asked the judge to overturn the conviction. He tried to ask for them to overturn. Diddy's been keeping the lawyers busy. I'm not surprised about that. Let me see. Hot topics, trending topics. I'm trying to find other stuff that I want to talk about. Any interesting stuff. So I'm not certain if Diddy was happy that his attorney said that he's seeking a comeback. Now, if you did not know, Jason Lee is trending in regards to the Stockton city manager is allegedly investigating in regards to 50K payment allegedly used for the Wildin' Out comedy show. So they're allegedly investigating this 50K and whether it should have been used for the Wildin' Out comedy show. So go check that out. That's been trending as well. Will Selena marry that guy? I hope she got a good ironclad prenup. I hope she do. Will Donald Trump pardon Diddy? Do you think he's going to steer away from that? Or do you think that he'll pardon him? I'm not seeing much in regards to Instagram. I'm sure there's a lot going on, but I'm not seeing a lot. Donald Trump basically said that Gayle King's career is over. Did y'all see that? Donald Trump tells Gayle King her career is over. Why is he picking on Gayle? Oh my goodness. Go check out that video, the short I did. I think that's the last short I did when Diddy's lawyer is doing the interview and she's asking if he's focusing on music. And he said, no, not really. But he's focused on trying to get to Madison Square Garden. And she said, to do what? Go check out my last short. So funny. I cracked up. Okay, y'all. Let me see. Ooh, wait. Did y'all know the game likes to talk about the different Kardashian people he slept with? That's interesting. That's gross. But if they gonna let you tap, it is what it is. Do y'all think the K's and the J's are role models? Y'all let me know in the comments. You can have a lot of money, but are you happy and do you have peace? Mm-hmm. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, was there anything else? I'm a clicking. Do y'all think what do y'all think is going to happen in regards to the files, in regards to the subpoenas? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, lot going on, lot going on, lot going on. Lot going on. Um, did y'all see that video of Brandy when she said she used Nair on her face and her face was really red? That's concerning. Sometimes, in regards to the women on reality shows, they do a lot of stuff for clicks and views, and it's concerning. Let me see. Yeah, some of these reality stars, I really don't cover a lot of reality stuff because it's concerning. Yeah, I don't cover a lot of reality type stuff. It's concerning. They do a lot for clicks and views, and they're not really focused on healthy relationships. So over here we be trying to focus on healthy relationships. Let me see. I know who's gonna have stuff. If there's some stuff going on, I know who's gonna have it. Da, 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 da. Yeah, so we'll keep covering this Diddy situation. We'll keep covering what's going on. They asked his lawyer about the concerns that the women have had. You can't excuse it. Would you want your daughter dating him? That's the big question. Would you want your daughter dating him? The mother dating him? The aunt dating him? Would you want the niece dating him? Lawyers do what they do because they want to be paid and they take high profile cases. Whether you approve it, agree with it or not, some of these lawyers, I don't know how they sleep at night, but they have a job to do and they're doing it. Okay, so the big question is, do you think Diddy's going to get time served? Press one. Do you think that Diddy's going to get over 1 year? Press two. Do you think he'll get over 5 years? Press three. Do you think Diddy will get over 10 years? Press four. Let me know in the comments. Some say time served. Some say less than a year. Will the judge ask for, at sentencing, home confinement? And will the judge approve that? Is Diddy keeping his lawyers busy? Possibly. Yeah, you guys, there's a lot going on. And people are calling out Diddy's lawyers. We'll get probably more into that maybe tomorrow or Monday. It's like, why aren't y'all talking to each other? At first, Trump was saying he might pardon. He's looking into it. If the bail was denied, the bail was denied. Now Trump is saying, I remember what he said about me. We covered that. Oh, I see that. I see what you're saying. A lot going on. Some people want the attorneys to stop talking. Some people want the attorneys to stop doing the interviews. I'm hearing that too. They say they're great in the courtroom. They say they're amazing in the courtroom. But these interviews, please stop talking. But we just listened to the interview. He did not do that bad. The only thing was him saying that the Madison Square Garden, making it seem like he's a decent dude, but I guess that's what he's supposed to do. Making it seem like, he's just covering a case of somebody entangling in a car and they got caught. It's way more than that. So there's people engaging in a car and there's a concern there. What's up? Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me know in the comments any big plans for the weekend? Any big plans for the weekend? Any big plans for the weekend? Let me know any big plans. Do you think he's getting out? Do you think he'll be out after the sentencing? And that's the other question. Any big plans? Let me know. Just generally talking. But do you think that some of these civil lawsuits have weight and merit to it? Or do you think it's just people just trying to get a bag, chase a bag? And as we heard in court, there was a few people that allegedly sued Diddy. And some of those cases were allegedly settled. The chef spoke out, I want to say about a month and a half ago. Go look that up. The chef spoke out about a month and a half ago how she felt. Some of the people they hired to spend quality time with Diddy and Cassie spoke up, spoke out. Go look up, because some people don't know. Go look up. I can't confirm or deny what Clayton Howard is saying is factual or false. I can't confirm or deny, but he has some things to say about Cassie. He has some things to say about Cassie and Diddy. Some of the other workers have spoke out as well. Let me ask y'all this. Are y'all surprised y'all haven't heard from the jury? Are you surprised you haven't heard from the jury? That backup juror, whatever his name was, he spoke up. Do you think that the jurors will speak up after his sentencing? Do you think the jurors will speak up after his sentencing, or do you think they're fearful of speaking up? Because people are speaking up and speaking out of whether they did a good job or not. That's a big question. Will the jurors speak up after his sentencing? Or do you think the jurors were told, you better be quiet? Too much going on, too much going on. There is no RICO, too much going on. Just go to your homes, chill out. Or do you think that the jurors are exhausted and they just didn't want to speak about the case, think about the case? Or any of the jurors write a book, do an interview after Diddy's sentencing? You think he should get prison time? How much prison time do you think he'll get? Pardon? Less than a year? Over 5 years? Over 10 years? We'll see. And that's the other question. I'm asking a lot of questions. Some people will answer certain things that they want to answer. Do you think that this was a fair judge? You can answer any question you want, but I put stuff out there for you to think about what's being talked about. My page is a little different. I don't know this man. I don't know the women he date. Over 10? Okay. But women, be careful. We cover the case. We talk about the case. We talk about what some of these women experienced and went through. I think they liked that they covered the Cassie thing, and I think they really liked that they covered the Jane Doe situation, because it showed that he was trying to be kind, paying her rent up until court. We don't know what happened after that, but paying her rent allegedly for Jane Doe and allegedly paying for her lawyer. Interesting. That had to possibly show that he's a good dude. Whew, yep, they had to show that he's possibly a good dude. Interesting case. Do you think it's going to be silent next week, or do you think his lawyers are going to keep doing interviews? And how do you feel about the lawyers? Did y'all check out that interview in regards to one of his lawyers speaking to Pierce Morgan? She was pretty much all smiles. She was pretty much all smiles until Pierce Morgan mentioned what she went through in regards to her marriage or her dating situation. She was like, this ain't a, it was basically, she turned her smile into a very, it's interesting. Y'all can go decide. I noticed it though. Pierce Morgan interview with Diddy's lawyer. Go watch it. Watch about the 4 to 5 minute mark and keep watching. Once Pierce Morgan asked about that lawyer's dating situation or marriage situation or whatever type of situation it was, look at her face when Pierce Morgan asked about her dating situations. She was not happy he asked that. That panel was a really good panel. When they talked about Diddy, Candace Owens, that was a great panel. And the Pierce Morgan, those lawyers talked about the Mann Act. And they were basically like, don't make us think that Diddy's case and all the other Man Act cases are similar. They were basically saying, you'd be a fool to think all those Man Act cases are very similar. Unless you show me case law, case study, we can't say that all those cases are very similar. In regards to what the women went through, the video we saw, the text messages, they said, be careful of people basically playing in your faces. You can't say his situation is very similar to the other Man Act law cases. So that was interesting of them saying that. Yeah, that was a good panel. Go watch that video. Pierce Morgan talking with one of Diddy's lawyers, and they talked about Candace Owen, and they also talked about Diddy. Very good video. I liked all three of those lawyers who spoke on that panel that day. Bruce Rivers, very direct lawyer. Bruce Rivers has a YouTube page. Bruce Rivers talks about hot topics and law stuff. He's been covering the Diddy case too. He seems like a really good lawyer. And he holds no bar. He don't hold his tongue. Bruce Rivers is a good lawyer. He seems very bright, very intelligent. He looked nice, shiny forehead, white shirt, nice suit. Bruce Rivers was giving it on Pierce Morgan. He was very direct on how he feels. Very direct. It was late at night, and I sat there and I watched that, y'all. Sometimes I have to watch stuff so I could tell y'all and communicate with y'all what's going on. Pierce Morgan did a great job in regards to the interviewing Diddy's lawyer and interviewing those lawyers. Pierce Morgan did a great job. I don't like what's going on in regards to Pierce Morgan and the Beyonce thing, though. I don't like that, but here nor there. Okay, everyone. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that are loving, kind, and respectful. I wish everyone a nice weekend. Happy Friday. Enjoy your time with friends and family. Be around people that's loving, kind to you. Don't be around people that play in your face, treat you rude, or be disrespectful. Will Trump pardon him, leave him alone, or is Trump using Diddy to change the narrative about the files? Y'all let me know. Is that what's happening? Or did someone start that rumor that he was thinking about it? And he's basically saying, I remember how he talked about me. So he might not. He might, and we'll see what happens after the sentencing. Will Trump keep bringing up Diddy? Will he be like, I'm over it, I'm not going to talk about it again? And what's going on with these people being subpoenaed? We covered that briefly. What's up with these people being subpoenaed? That's a lot. Okay, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all. I hope everyone has hit subscribe. As you guys leave out, please hit subscribe. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. There's about 114 in the building. If you didn't subscribe, please subscribe. Because if all 114 hit subscribe, that'll be a good day for me. I came on live. I had a very interesting day, but things are taken care of now. Very interesting day. Very. Okay. So please subscribe. I hope you guys have subscribed. And I thank y'all. Happy Friday. Enjoy y'all weekend. Spend time with your boo, yo bae. Kick back. Go to the beach. Go chill somewhere. Just to be able to woosah. Some of us get busy with family stuff, the children, the husband, the family, the mother-in-law, the father. Everybody gets busy. Find time for yourself and enjoy yourself. Spoil yourself sometimes. I might Netflix and chill after I get off here. So I appreciate y'all. Be kind, be loving. I hope I covered and answered a lot of y'all questions. Right now, Diddy lawyers are being called out in regards to their interviews. Go check it out. Diddy lawyer was asked about what some of these women have experienced in the relationship. Go check that out. She did a great job interviewing Diddy's lawyer. She did. She did. She did. Beautiful brown skin. She did an amazing job covering the interview with his lawyer. So I thank you all. Thanks for being here. Everyone have a great day. Goodbye. Be blessed.